People on that busy city street didn't know whether to be shocked or furious. A billionaire CEO, known for his towering empire and even taller ego, was yelling at a black woman in public. Her crime? She had laid her hands on his $19 million Bugatti, a car so rare most people only ever see it in magazines. But within seconds, that same woman would leave him speechless, silenced not by words, but by what she did next. The billionaire's name was Richard Wallace, a man whose fortune stretched across multiple continents. To the public, he was a symbol of untouchable success. His life was curated in glossy magazine covers, TV interviews, and high-profile charity galas. Everything about him screamed exclusivity, from the penthouse suites to the private jets, and of course, the cars. But above all, Richard was obsessed with one thing: his Bugatti La Voiture Noire. Only a handful of people in the entire world owned this model. To him, it wasn't just a car, it was a statement. The $19 million masterpiece wasn't just parked, it was displayed, polished to perfection, and guarded from the smallest smudge. That afternoon, Richard had parked it in front of one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. The car gleamed under the sunlight like a piece of black diamond. As usual, it drew a crowd. People stopped, took photos, and admired it from a safe distance. Richard loved that part, watching people gaze at something they couldn't have. Then, in the midst of the admiring crowd, came a woman whose presence didn't quite fit the scene, at least not in the way Richard's world operated. Her name was Angela Brooks, a quiet, reserved woman in her mid-30s. She had been walking by, carrying her work bag after finishing her shift at a nearby electronics repair shop. Cars weren't her passion, but mechanics were. Her late father had been a mechanic, and she had grown up around tools and engines. As she approached the Bugatti, Angela noticed something peculiar. Most people saw the car's beauty. She saw a detail no one else had spotted. A thin hairline crack in the outer casing of a rear panel, something almost invisible unless you knew where to look. Her curiosity got the better of her. Without thinking about it, she reached out, gently running her fingers along the curve of the panel. In that exact moment, Richard Wallace stepped out of the restaurant. The sight of someone touching his car, his prized possession, hit him like a slap. He strode forward, his voice cutting through the chatter of the crowd. "Step away from the car," he barked. "Do you have any idea what you're touching? That's worth more than your entire life." Angela froze. People turned to look, some already recording the scene on their phones. The air was heavy with judgment, some directed at her, some at him. Richard's voice didn't soften. "You don't walk up to a car like this and lay your hands on it. Who do you think you are?" Angela didn't flinch. She wasn't intimidated by wealth, even if his words carried the sting of arrogance. "I wasn't trying to hurt it," she said calmly. "I noticed something. There's a crack in the panel here, probably from heat stress. If you don't fix it, it's going to get worse." Richard's laughter was sharp and mocking. "A crack? Do you think I don't have people to take care of my car? You think you, what? No more than the team of specialists I pay a fortune to." Most people in Angela's position would have walked away, but she didn't. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small multi-tool she always carried for work. "If you'll let me, I can fix it. It'll take me less than 2 minutes." The crowd murmured. Some people were entertained, others doubtful. Richard's jaw tightened. The idea of letting a stranger, and not just any stranger, but someone he had just accused of disrespect, touch his car again was absurd. But there was something about her calm confidence that unsettled him. Against his better judgment, and perhaps because part of him wanted to prove her wrong, he said, "Fine. You have 2 minutes. But if you make it worse—" "I won't," Angela cut in. She crouched down, ignoring the stares, and began working on the panel with practiced precision. Her movements were quick, deliberate, and without hesitation. She didn't waste a second, loosening, adjusting, resealing the section with a temporary bonding compound she carried for emergency fixes. In less than 2 minutes, as promised, she was done. She stood up, wiped her hands, and stepped back. "There," she said. "The panel's secure. It's a temporary fix. You should still have it checked by a specialist. But at least now it won't spread or cause further damage." Richard inspected the spot, his eyes narrowing. To his surprise and slight embarrassment, the flaw was gone. The finish was smooth again. Even more humiliating, He realized she had been right. The heat from the engine could have caused the panel to warp over time, eventually costing him far more in repairs. He didn't know what to say. For a man used to being the smartest person in the room, silence didn't come easily. Angela didn't wait for his gratitude. "Take care of it," she said simply, and began walking away. "Wait," Richard called after her. She stopped but didn't turn fully. "What's your name?" "Angela," she replied. "Angela," he repeated, as if testing the sound of it. "Do you work with cars?" "I fix things," she said. "Cars, machines, electronics. It's what I do." For the first time in the entire encounter, Richard's voice softened. "Come by my office sometime. I think I might have something for you." Angela gave a polite nod and walked off, disappearing into the crowd. The incident went viral within hours. Videos of the confrontation spread across social media, sparking debates about wealth, respect, and assumptions. Some criticized Richard for his arrogance. Others praised Angela's composure. But the part that caught most people's attention wasn't the yelling. It was the quiet way she proved herself without raising her voice. A few days later, Angela received a call. It was Richard's assistant, inviting her to a meeting. Curious, she agreed. When she arrived at his corporate headquarters, she was led into his office, a space as meticulously curated as the man himself. "I owe you an apology," Richard said without preamble. "I judged you without knowing who you were or what you could do. That was wrong." Angela nodded, not making it easy for him. "I wasn't looking for an apology. I just saw something that needed fixing." Richard smiled faintly. "That's exactly why I want you on my team. My company needs someone who sees problems before they become disasters, someone who doesn't get intimidated." Angela hesitated. "I'm not interested in corporate politics." "You wouldn't have to be," he said. "You'd be heading a new department, rapid technical diagnostics. Name your salary." It wasn't an offer she had expected. After some thought, Angela agreed, but on her terms. She wanted autonomy, fair pay for her team, and resources to work with. Richard, surprisingly, agreed without argument. Months later, Angela was running one of the most efficient technical units in his empire. She had turned what could have been a humiliating public argument into a life-changing opportunity, not just for herself, but for the people she hired. And as for the Bugatti, it stayed in Richard's collection, but now it had a small, invisible mark in its history, a moment when the billionaire learned that value isn't always about the price tag, and expertise can come from the most